The only question mark on the high-flying Seagulls.
No, that's for sure. They're always a hard side at Frankston, and over the past few years, we've found it hard to win out here. I think the ratio is about 2-2 at the moment, and away from home, we've lost a couple of games against Preston and Port Melbourne. We just got beaten the last kick of the day at Preston and 2 goals at Port Melbourne. But I think against Dandenong we come good, and we won by 8 goals. And playing at Dandenong, it's always hard. And yeah, I think at Frankston today the surface looks good, and I think the boys will do all right today. That's for sure.
I know you're watching. Cheer up, and see you around shortly.
Well, it's Frankston going from left to right to start off this quarter. Oh, very well judged by Parker. This is the man they're all looking at. Essendon seem to be the favoured team to picking up in the draft in 2 weeks' time. Geelong also interested. They have the numbers here, Williamstown in defence. Ball cleared away by Stephen Long. Nice pick-up by Johnny. No, it was Matthew Wood. And it can be driven back again by Long. Has he managed to clear it this time? No, not a lot of talking from Frankston. Tom Wilson getting right into the back of Steve Hamill there, the captain. He had every right to go for it, the big man, I suppose. But the collision meant the ball jarred loose. Perry, a very much improved ruckman, but this has let in the Seagulls. They, again, don't take advantage of it. Here's Sadi Ghazi being pressured by Tony Hamill. Free kick for Ghazi.
Had a wonderful season, Sadi Ghazi, in conjunction with Marcus O'Connor, who's not playing today. Long assumes the second roving role.
Jackers is well down the ground. He's backward of the centre half forward. That means Ian Rickman has the 50-metre semicircle to himself. There he is going defensive. Johansson into the pocket from Greg Minot. And Pastore only has to pick it up to kick a goal. But he did have to kick it and didn't do that correctly. So first score is Williamstown's.
Could have done a lot better there, Tony Pastore. He's had a wonderful year as well. He could have really steadied, virtually ran into an open goal then, but he opted to take a shot from 30 or 40 out and unfortunately missed.
Kick in from Williams. Another chance for Tom Wilson. Getting it across to Jeff Amore. Great use of the body. And he didn't like the way he was held out. Gould very correctly by Parker.
Yes, and you rightly mentioned a number of AFL clubs will be firmly focusing their attention on Parker. The June draft imminent.
Steve Hamill's handball. Wilson unable to take it with him. Going away is Shanks, another player that's been talked about as a possible draftee. Just a little bit slow in getting it clear Amore, but now the Dolphins into the middle. Pastore, caught by Wilson, who's getting in everything so far. Well, how's the umpire going to see that? He's going to see it as holding the man. Mitchell between a rock and a hard place there as to whether to tackle his man who was really shepherding the ball. Calling for it out wide. Young, it's bypassed him. Foot to centre half forward. Ball coming off the hands of Darren Bell. They haven't been able to get it over half forward, and here's Stephen Johansson. Shanks, who's a very good kick for goal. Not on this occasion, though. Another behind.
Here, another golden opportunity squandered by Williamstown.
And he was an also-ran last year, but is now carving up the top fullbacks like the Dunstalls and Locketts.
Perhaps as much as anybody, Delray typifies the ethnic origins of modern-day Footscray. While the name is French, 24-year-old Danny was born in Australia of Italian parents. However, it was always Aussie rules that attracted him, not, as you might expect, soccer. His ambition was simple.
To play league footy at one, and Terry gave me the option to train. Terry Willie gave me the option to train pre-season training. He said, see how you go, make the draft, and we'll take it from there.
And the Bulldogs did. He's now in his third season after being drafted in March 1990. Coach Terry Wheeler, however, gave him a challenge. Get fit or get out. Danny took it up and has booted 34 goals so far this year.
Last year, pre-season, he said to me that he wanted me to get a bit fitter and stronger. to try me out in a number of positions, and I had to do that, so hopefully I can just pay it off for him.
Most agree he has, so Danny's outlook now is footy at the grassroots level.
We set ourselves goals and we've achieved it so far, which is our goals, and now we're just setting game by game and play some finals footy.
And the Bulldogs' success.
Rickman up forward, and really Frankston fell down poorly up forward. Pastore's been a fine player around the packs, and he was responsible for the first goal of the match, courtesy of a 50-metre penalty by the umpire. But they really have set up the play far more efficiently and have had a far more efficient forward line. Jeff Parker began up forward for Frankston, did very, very well, but as has been the case so often, you know, he's been called to plug a number of deficient areas, and you know, swung the centre half back on Aziz when he threatened. Goosey's kicked the goal there, and in fact he's responsible for kicking both of Frankston's goals. But some of the possession has been far too easy, and you know, Frankston really just have lacked a bit of desire and commitment at this point in time. They've seemed to have lost the plot. They've had a couple of tries, I guess. Parker, well, we spoke of Parker. Pollock's been, you know, reasonably effective. Matty Ryan was all right in the first half of that opening quarter, but seemed to drift out of the game. And there we see on screen Gould doing very well after being fed from Rickman. And all in all, they just look a little too good for Frankston at this point in time. Minor, well, he's just had an absolute picnic. I think he had some 12, 13 possessions, in fact 13 possessions. And as you can see, he wasn't under a great deal of pressure. Corey Young getting frustrated. The statistics, well, as you would appreciate. He's been starved of opportunity. He kicked a couple early in the first term, but generally has struggled. But, you know, that's probably the difference between the two sides. We saw Matty Ryan there, snap a nice angle goal. In the initial 10 minutes of that second term, they looked as though they might have made a fist of things and turned it into a pretty tight encounter. Parker, well, he's their best player, there's no doubt about that, but he's been compelled to fill a number of roles as the deficiencies pop up on the oval, and you know, there's a limit to what he can do. He's done a superb job at centre half back in blanketing Jack Aziz, who was doing well in the first term.
They got to within 11 points, Frankston, as this mark wasn't paid to Lloyd.
Wasn't paid to Lloyd, no.
But they seem to find another gear, the Seagulls.
Well, this is one of the guys on screen there. He's been a terrific player, Greg Minette. Running onto the ball with Simons, and they steadied the ship from there on in. They didn't look back. They really rattled on another 4 or 5 goals. Simons again on screen. And this is Sadi Ghazi taking a superb mark. Wedged away between the two defenders for Frankston. Troy Mitchell superbly. Tony Pastore, probably the best man on the ground. An extremely intelligent and cool customer. Streaming forward again. And Rickman. Been a focal point, only kicked 2 goals, the magician up forward, and this is one of a superb goal from 65 metres, but been responsible for another 2 or 3. Very unselfish play by Rickman, puts the defence under enormous pressure. Big Jack Aziz. And the Clifton Hills Meatworks, the boys. I had a chat with them yesterday. They enjoy the coverage.
Oh, Sadi Ghazi is flattened, and it's well and truly on now. Football still going on, but there's trainers coming from everywhere, runners. It's about 4 players playing football while the box-on takes place.
Well, this is a disgraceful scene now.
We haven't seen this in the VFA for a long time. And Rickman's come right from full forward to remonstrate with Robert Mace. I don't know whether any of you saw it, gentlemen, but Ghazi, I just saw him keel over and go flatten his back. They've been really out for him all day. Some very tight checking on Ghazi. Been legitimate up until that stage. Theodore on his wrong foot. Goosey recover against Lloyd.
2 policemen on the middle of the ground, 2 Peter at the moment.
Goosey's got the goal. That's his 4th. Well, I don't know whether I think a stoush might enable them to get back into play, but Sadi Ghazi has copped something very unlawful, I would suggest.
Well, charges may be laid too, Peter, you know. Now the policeman on the ground, the rules are vastly different. Yeah, it's a terrible shame to see incidents like this occur. There are certainly many avenues open to players to demonstrate their physical presence on the ground without resorting to, you know, blatant tactics such as that. And I think it'll work against Frankston in the final analysis.
Back at centre field, Wilson up against Perry. Young. Goosey with Lloyd. And the free going to Howlett.
Yes, you'll see those marginal frees start going in favour of Williamstown, I suspect, Ross.
I noticed the emergency umpires speaking for a long time to Robbie Mace after that melee. Whether anyone's gone in the book, I don't know. Aziz too strong on Parker. Venner makes a lead to the pocket. Jack goes to the big torpedo, catches Venner out of position. Past Williams with Rickman. He's back now at full forward, running down the ground.
Come on, keep it going, Dolphins. Well, about the only person that was restrained, or the only viewer, rather, that was restrained here.
He was on Delta alert too. He was waiting for his orders.
Here's Rickman. He'd love to barrel this one. Oh, that'd feel good.
Hit the post.
Did he flick the post on the way?
Sure, that'll be the situation. But Frankston, for the opening 10 minutes of this third term, as was the case in the second term, looked very good. And this guy really did set them alight. Theodore with a couple of touches of brilliance, actually. You know, he kicked 2 quick goals, and they look like they might work their way back into the game. And here we see the half volley being accepted by Theodore again, and a raking left foot. That was the second goal for the term, and they got within 11 points, I think.
No, that was in the second quarter. It was very similar start to the term as the second quarter, but then
Venner, a similar
Williamstown
situation. Yeah, got that.
Cancelled them out.
Cancelled them out. Lloyd's been solid in defence, and here we see them work their way forward. Quick hands onto the running Shanks on that occasion. Shanks relaying the ball to Johansson, who's had an enthralling duel here with the man on screen there in Boonkamp.
No relation to Mein Kampf.
No, Mein Kampf, no. And Frankston venturing forward, and this guy, he's done very well with limited opportunities, Simon Goosey, taking a couple of very good overhead marks, but has been starved of opportunity. I think he's kicked 4 from about half a dozen opportunities. Williamstown forward, and Aziz, great strength. This is a superb goal here. Mitchell onto Minette. Minette. And a goal.
Well, just cutting out of the highlights because the police and the umpires going over to Robert Mace.
All right, understand? All right, no, you're not off the ground. You've been reported.
Well, obviously, Robert Mace has been reported, but not for an offence adjudged serious enough for him to be sent off the ground.
Yes, but I suspect there may be a little bit more to it with the police involved there, Peter. The stats for the...
Oh, beautiful. Good one.
Cheers, mate. Well done, Greg. Fantastic first quarter by you. You really set it up there.
Yeah, it was good to get back in the side for a start, and do well was really good. Yeah, good for the side too.
You've not held a regular place all the year, so you've really shown the
game back. Yeah, so I'll show them now. I hope and stay there for a bit longer now.
Did you have injury troubles?
I had a bit of groin trouble, but it's okay now. Yeah, it's good.
And now, your baseball career in the summer, who do you play for?
Newport during the summer. Melbourne Monarchs, hopefully, this year.
Melbourne Monarchs,
watching the coach watching?
Yes.
Melbourne Monarchs, yeah.
A fiery game. Where were you during all that?
Oh, I was right out of it, Ross. Don't get in on our scuffles, mate.
That's good to see. That's why Greg Minette was winner of the Vic Safe Tankard Vic Safe Man of the Match.
Ross, I'd like to thank Vic Safe and Mazda for the award too.
Good on you, Greg. We heard that. Yeah. But
field where Pastori, Gould and the Minettes really did dominate, got that quality possession out. And here are some of the scenes now. Obviously, the spirit that pervades the club at the moment is an excellent one. You know, they're a very, very close club at Williamstown. Rounds, obviously, you know, played a big role in developing that spirit there, and they're thinking about their football.
Simon Theodore on his wrong foot. Sold the dummy twice, got away from a man, got himself into space, and then on the right, swung in a beauty. So they were on a bit of a roll there, Frankston, but absolutely bury Frankston. But to their credit, they fought back, and the score was quite respectable in the end when they looked like being buried.
Well, Pastore kicked that first goal, and what a wonderful game he had. You know, he's a very cool customer in the Crikey, a wonderful player. Here we see Simons, who's been a good four-quarter player, got a good touch of skills about him on his preferred foot, drilling one through, and it looked like they could completely overrun Frankston. Billy Swan coming on in that term, spotting Rickman, and what a wonderful contribution he made, kicking 5 goals, assisting in 2 or 3 others, and really proving a focal point. And of course, a player like Rickman, not only for the goal.